All right, folks, hope you're doing well. It's nearly 10 minutes to 5 on the 7th of June 2020. Well, I started doing another video earlier, but then deleted it. For no particular reason. There were a few words there that may be considered to be out of order. I don't consider them to be out of order. I wasn't trying to use them in that way, but yeah, you never know. All right, okay, start again. I will whiz through it a bit quicker this time. Okay. What the video was about is that, there's a lot of protesting still, and I feel very much for these protesters. Most are decent human beings who are trying to do what they can do in a very, very bad situation. Even made even worse by the fact we have the Rona situation to be concerned about as well. So, not an ideal environment to go protesting in. Now, it's difficult. The reason why it's difficult with all this stuff is because of the fact that what a lot of these speakers are saying are complete nonsense. Utterly rubbish what they're saying. And they're not going to solve a thing. I mean, even the fact of saying Black Lives Matter is racist. You're not really going to solve racism by being racist. And that's the thing. There's a lot of racism being spouted out now as a way of trying to solve racism. It's like not going to work. So there was a Killer Mike chap, the radio presenter, I think he is. He's been on a lot of places talking now because for some reason he's respected. I've no idea why. He's not someone I would respect as a speaker because he comes across with some of the most insane rubbish. Again, it's racist what he comes out with. So much of it is racist. He was saying on the... 1 second. I'll find it. Yeah, Real Time with Bill Meyer. He was speaking there, being interviewed there. And again, he has a platform by which to speak to people, and so much of the stuff he talks is utter nonsense. Complete rubbish. And it's not going to help with the issue of racism. It's probably going to make things worse. Because this bloke has no wisdom, he has no understanding. Not useful. All that stuff. It's not useful in any way, shape, or form. He's got to use his brain, and the problem is he doesn't seem to be able to. He starts talking about the fact that they're going to vote for the sheriffs, they've got to vote for the mayors, they've got to vote for the senators that they want, and they've got to promote and support black businesses so that they have more people with their skin colour in powerful positions in the community. So, right, okay. Yeah, it makes sense. You want what you call white people, pink-skinned people, to stop thinking of you as a separatist and out of order group of people based on your skin colour. Even though what you're going to do is you're going to say, we're not going to support white businesses. We're going to be racist against them, even if they're better businesses than these black businesses. Because our way of making things right is to promote bad black businesses ahead of good white businesses. We're happy to see the good white businesses collapse in favour of these black businesses because it serves our agenda. Excuse me, aren't you doing exactly what you've accused white people of doing for years? Aren't you planning to do exactly the same? If your ideas as ways of solving the problem are things that are going to cause more problems, then you're a blinking idiot. Yeah, at some point you've got to switch brain on before you open mouth. Because you're really not helping the situation in any way, shape or form. And as I said before in other videos, it's not a black issue. It's not a race issue. Most of these things are not race issues. You have the simple situation where, because you have 24-hour news, sensational news reporting is what the news networks really, really, really desire. They're going to have offered to them videos of police being brutal, even killing pink-skinned people, right? They're going to say, no thanks. That's of no use to me at all. Even if the police officers are black, they're of no use to us at all. Because we can't shout racism. We can't scream, oh, racist police. Everyone watch, go and march, go and beat up the police, go and cause havoc out there. Because these nasty police officers who are racist. They only want videos where brown-skinned people are being abused or even killed by police officers. Generally speaking, pink-skinned police officers, white. That's what they want, because that's what people want to see. That's what outrages people. That's what people on the left, not the right, on the left, that's what they want to see. And the right also want a lot of that, because what the right want, they want to actually film these protests. They want to film these people come out and say these stupid blinking things, because then they can say there's an agenda against the police. Because what they're showing here is wrong. On this incident, with regards to this particular police officer who killed Mr. Floyd, you can't really say it's wrong. Only you can now, and the reason why you can now is because he's now being charged with second-degree murder rather than third-degree murder, and you ain't going to prove that one. You can't prove intent. No, and I've just done a video particularly on that issue. You can't prove intent, and the channels like Fox News are going to love that. They're going to love it. Because the protesters and the left media and the celebrities were all pushing for a harsher charging of this ex-police officer. From third degree to at least second, if not first. Well, now they've got it, the prosecutor pretty much knows he's got no chance at all. Unless this cop has the worst defense lawyer in history, the prosecutor knows that they have no chance at all in winning that, because they can't prove it. Defense will have a field day with it. Proven intent, that was a stupid thing. What the prosecutor originally put down, third-degree murder, that was provable. The video proved it itself. There you go. You've got your man. He's off the force. He's in prison. The other 3 officers will also be in prison as well for basically standing by and allowing all that to happen. Aiding and abetting, that's counted as. So they would be in prison as well. You got them. There you go. Now, most likely what's going to happen now is the officer whose knee was on George's neck and whose knee was responsible for the death of George is probably going to get off, whereas the other 3 officers who stood by and did nothing but didn't actually have anything really to do with killing George are going to be found guilty. And that's all because of the fact that the left went berserk. They allowed their emotions and everything, and anybody at all will tell you with wisdom, don't speak while you're emotional. If you're emotional, that is not the time to speak. That is not the time to go on live TV and make any comments, because you're angry, you're upset, you're enraged, you're going to say something that you wouldn't normally say because you're not speaking with your brain on. It's your emotions that's coming through. That's why I said in the last video, you need to forgive this police officer for what he did. Because you need to be able to let this go now. You protested. You're not going to bring George back no matter what you do. You're not going to undo what's done. You can't. It's done. It's the one thing where someone's dead that once it's done, you can't do so about it. Yeah. That people are saying they're protesting for George. No, they're not. George is dead. You're not protesting for George. You're protesting for the next George. So trying to stop that, right? But at some point, if you're going to do that, you've got to start using your head. And you're not going to start using your head all the while you're emotional. So you've got to forgive this officer for what he did. Not to set him free, but to set you free. That's the reality of the situation. Another reality, as I've said so many times, it's not race. And whether this officer was a racist, don't know. No idea. We know that he had worked with Mr. Floyd before. Maybe they had a beef over something that happened there. Don't know. No idea. What we do know is that the police, for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, in every flipping location, they have abused and killed citizens. Because generally speaking, they don't respect citizens at all. Not most of them. The poor, absolutely not. They have no respect for the poor. They have no love for them at all. I've done videos on worthlessnessism. Because that's what it's really about. Those people that the authorities see as worthless. Those people that the rich and powerful, the bourgeoisie, see as worthless. The worthless are the proletariat. Now, that situation between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat never ended. Never ended. It was just believed to have ended, but it hadn't actually ended. And what we're seeing is the police force that was stuck between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat to protect the bourgeoisie from the proletariat acting out. But they've been doing it now for hundreds of years. And in the UK, and in America, and in Russia, and in China, and in most of these countries, they've done it against pink-skinned people. Certainly how would you put it? What's the word? African-ish person. Not black, because I mean that is something like, oh. I shouted it at monitor earlier. I was watching the what it was called now, News Tonight, something like that. Vice News Tonight, I think it's called. And they were talking to a few of the protesters. One of them was a solicitor, a lawyer. And that person was saying, because I have black skin. No, you just look at him. His skin wasn't black. He's not going to make a very good lawyer, is he, really? He can't even look in the mirror and see what colour skin he's got. Does he not know the difference between brown and black? The problem is, folks, is that people who are naturally born with a wonderful tan have been brought up believing that pink-skinned people don't like them, that a lot of pink-skinned people are racist, that police are going to abuse them and kill them because so many of the police are racist. And when you believe this, and when you look at the left has this thing about victimhood. They love victims. And they try and create victims. They talk about people in general as victims. Yeah, you've got the LGBTQ are victims of society in this way or that way, and we've got to make sure that no more victims of society in the LGBTQ or the black people who are victims of racism for all these years. Stop acting like victims, because when you act like victims, you will be treated like victims, because you stop believing yourself as a victim, so you'll start acting like one. So ignore all that rubbish. It's the left's way of trying to say they care about you when they really don't. You just have to look, are they solving a problem with their rhetoric? No, they're not. Are they helping the situation? No, they're not. They're labelling you as a victim. And that's not helpful. I got annoyed the other day. I did a video about Reverend Al Sharpton because of the fact that he's supposed to be a man of God. Therefore, he's supposed to be guided by the Holy Spirit. In this time of darkness, what people need is light. Sorry, you can hear police cars around here all the time. All the sirens on, maybe they're late for their lunch. I don't think there's any protesting around this area. So I don't know what on earth all these sirens is. About the 10th siren I've heard in the last 2 hours. Obviously something's gone on. Anyway, I've lost my thread now. Didn't know I had a thread, but there you go. I've no idea where I was. No idea where I was on that one. But anyway, yeah, the racist issue. In all these countries, in China, they are incredibly nasty to their people. In Russia, they are incredibly nasty to their people, and you don't generally find many people who are Afro-American, or Afro-Russian, or Afro-Chinese in those areas. It's mostly pure Chinese, pure Russian. And the police have no respect for those people at all. None whatsoever. Oh, sorry, I was dealing with Al Sharpton. There you go. And the Christian point of view. And yeah. So, yeah. Blinking police cars are annoying. Anyway, he is someone who is a brown person. He's been incredibly privileged during a whole section of his life. And he's speaking about the fact that brown people have never had a chance to actually be successful because white people have had their knee on the necks of the brown people all the time. Well, as I said before, they got interrupted by the sirens. As a Christian, you're supposed to bring light in the darkness. We are at a time of incredible darkness after what that officer did. And what makes it even worse, actually, with that officer, they knew they were being videoed at the time and they didn't care. The reason why they didn't care, I know this is diverting a bit, the reason why they didn't care is because they didn't believe that they'd be prosecuted. Even though what they were doing was out of order, they didn't believe that they'd face any prosecution or any type of discipline at all. Not good. But anyway, yeah. Since that, there's been a lot of darkness. Reverend Al Sharpton is supposed to bring light in the darkness, and what he brought was just more darkness. He brought an excuse for anyone with brown skin who sees that life is difficult and doesn't really want to bother. They can just say from now on, oh, it's because the white people had their knee on my neck. I couldn't succeed because of that. Reverend Al Sharpton said so. I'm not trying to impersonate any one person speaking. Not at all. That was a whingy sort of voice. Anyway. As I say, I feel sorry for the people who are protesting. I really, really do, because it's not easy. Not in any way, shape or form. I mean, to make change, yeah, voting. As that Killamite person said, vote for your sheriffs, and vote for your police chiefs, and vote for your mayors, and vote for your senators and your congressmen or congressperson. Vote for them. Get in the votes for these things. Try and send a message through that way. Try and put people in positions of power who can influence these things. Because they on the Vice News, they were talking about something that was absolutely outrageous. Where police chiefs, I think even in Minneapolis, where this thing happened, the new police chief got in, tried to make some changes, but the police union blocked him. I'm not sure if it's him who was trying to do this, but one of the police chiefs was trying to stop police doing extreme training because their extreme training had led to the death of someone. When the police chief banned that sort of training, the police union did that training for police officers for free. Knowing it had been banned because it had led to the death of somebody, an officer using these extreme techniques on the streets and led to the death of somebody, the police union didn't care. Even at the fact that the police chief had tried to ban it, they didn't care. They want monsters on the streets. So, vote for the whole lot so you can get these police unions right. It's understandable you've got police unions and the police unions want to represent the police officers if they are accused of things they didn't do, right? If they are wrongly accused, then the police union should be helping them out. The problem is that the police unions are protecting some very, very, very bad and nasty police officers. And in some cases, they are stopping the police chief from actually doing anything about getting rid of these people. It's a tough situation out there, folks. I'm not going to pretend it's going to be easier to fix because it really, really isn't. So I would say vote. See if that can fix it. And I know that's not easy in itself because I've spoken previously about voting, about the fact that the Republican Party try and do everything they possibly can to stop brown people from voting. So you're going to have to be clever. You're going to have to, as people, find a way to get past all that BS that the Republican Party tries to put in your way. Simple as that, really. I mean, it's not as simple as that. That's the point, isn't it, really? It's really difficult, and it's not really a simple situation to solve. But I wish you well. I really do. And I hope somehow you can get it sorted. But I'd certainly say stop using racist rhetoric to try and solve racism because it's not going to work. Stop spreading horror stories amongst each other and amongst your children about police violence and police cruelty and the police are out to get us crap. Generally speaking, they're not. And if they are, it's not because of the colour of your skin. It's because of your societal status. If they see you as worthless, it's because of your societal status. Now, again, what you can do about that, I am not thinking well sure. I mean, I would be tempted to say, give your life to God, start doing things God's way, and then, because I said in the previous video, the Bible says that we should bless the meek, bless the needy, take care of the poor. Exactly what society says we shouldn't. So society has a worthlessness for the poor and the needy and the weak, whereas the Bible says these are exactly the people that we should be taking care of. The reason is because God knew that the world was going to be this way. Greed and power and abusing people was going to be the way of the world. So if you're going to try and take on the world and make a change, you may need God's help to do that. The reason why I said normally I'd say that is because at the moment the Christian church is in a mess. It's not exactly functional. So, but new blood, who might take things seriously, might be get themselves right with God, so that they can actually make the changes that are necessary. Might be a way forward. But again, faith is something that you choose based on when you're called. Often is the case. So, yeah, I wish you well. Let's say there's no simple, clear answer. I wish there was. I wish I could just give you a clear answer as a way to solve all this, but there isn't one. But there are answers. There are things that people can do. But the first thing is use your head. Get rid of the emotion. And if you need to forgive this officer to do that, then do that. I can't see any easier way of getting rid of the emotion than to forgive somebody. Because whenever there's another case like this in the future, it's going to bring that rage right straight back. So forgive. Forgiveness it's not an easy thing. But what I would say to you is what happened didn't happen to you. It didn't even happen to your family. It happened to the Floyd family. Now, for them, yes, it should be therefore more difficult for them to forgive the police. But for most people with brown skin, you need to forgive this officer. Like you have been brought up thinking that everything is racism. That officer may have been brought up thinking everything should be racist. And, if you shouldn't be blamed because of the way you were brought up, then maybe he shouldn't either. You take care. God bless. And I will speak to you soon. Bye bye.